Call to order the September 2016 meeting of the New Ulm Public Utilities Commission. Before we get started, there was an attachment missing from the agenda packet, the agreement for professional services, which hard copies have been distributed to all the commissioners tonight. It relates to item 3E in the new business on our agenda. We'll start with the motion to approve the minutes.
Move to approve the minutes of the regular meeting of the Public Utilities Commission held August 23rd, 2016.
Second.
Motion and second to approve the minutes of the regular meeting of the Public Utilities Commission of August 23rd, 2016. Any discussion of the motion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. And the motion carries. Next, we'll hear from Mr. Rossi regarding activities last month.
Thank you, President Heine, Commission members. Just a couple of items of note from this month's Director's Report. Last month, we mentioned that our combustion turbine number 7 had been removed from service due to some software issues with the pollution control, specifically the water injection system. That software glitch has been repaired, and a test run for emissions compliance was completed back on September 15th, and the unit was fully compliant. It was emitting an average of 52 parts per million NOx, and our permit limit is 75 parts per million. Shortly thereafter, again with combustion turbine number 7, that unit was rebid into the MISO market, and on August 29th, it was called up for emergency service. It ran a total of 4.4 hours in the late afternoon of August 29th, generated 103 megawatt hours of energy to the area grid, and with a resultant payment coming from MISO. So it's good to have that unit back online and servicing not only New Ulm but the greater area as well. With that, you've received the full report in your packet. I'm available for any questions.
I'd offer motion to receive and order file the report regarding utility operations during the month of September 2016.
Second.
And I'd like to recognize the employee of the month, Dave Keene, Assistant Chief Engineer from the Electric Production Department. We have a motion and second to receive and order filed the report regarding utility operations during the month of September 2016. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Next, we have a report regarding Public Power Week.
Good evening, Commission members. I'd just like to give a quick summary of our Public Power Week event that we'll be hosting. So Public Power Week was created by the American Public Power Association to highlight some of the key benefits of public power to communities across the country. And this year, we thought we would focus on our meter reading departments and billing staff. And we'll be hosting an event here at the City Hall offices. And that's going to be Thursday, October 6th. And we plan to highlight our meter reading, show off some of our meter reading equipment, and some of the historical equipment that's been used in the past, including meters and some of our electronic radio transmitter equipment. We'll also include some information on our new online account system, which is new essentially this year, and then some of the payment options as well. So if you're a community member that has interest in setting that up or learning more about how that process works, I encourage you to attend. And some key times to keep in mind for that day would be 9, 11, 1, and 3. We plan to do some meter reads at that time, so you can come and take a look, see how that equipment operates in the field. Are there any questions about the Public Power Week event?
I don't have a question, but I noticed the article in the Journal about Public Power Week. I don't know if you wrote that or who from the agency, but it was a nice article.
Yeah, I believe that was Larry Botten from Electric Distribution. If
That
I'm
was, it
correct.
was a joint effort, but the primary author there was Larry Botten from the Electric Distribution Department.
I offer a motion to receive and file the report regarding Public Power Week at the associated event planned by the New Ulm Public Utilities.
I'll second.
We have a motion and second to receive and file the report regarding Public Power Week and the associated event planned by New Ulm Public Utilities. Is there any discussion on the motion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
All right, thank you, Commissioners.
And next is Mr. Barron to present regarding possible change in email security.
Good afternoon. We've been utilizing a email security filter system for quite a number of years now. Earlier this year, we received notice from Intel, who is the owner of the service that we subscribe to, that they were discontinuing the product, which is McAfee Email Security. And so we've been on the lookout for a replacement system for that. And we've settled on Proofpoint Email Security as the solution that met the needs that we have and had the same features that we were used to and that we needed. And so after evaluating the different products, that's what I'd like to recommend that we move forward with. Some of the major things that we use this service for is it eliminates a lot of the spam that employees would get otherwise. It also scans for viruses and malware and a lot of other security things. It also protects us, and you've probably been hearing a lot about phishing scams and spear phishing and all these funny cybersecurity terms. And this tool is one of the major things that we use to prevent those sorts of things from happening to our users.
What's the difference in cost from what we were paying to this year?
It is about $1,000 more than what we've had what we've been paying in the past. The product that we had been using originally started, I think it was 8 or 10 years ago. It was originally called MX Logic, and subsequently it changed hands 2 times since then. It was purchased by McAfee and Intel. Prices had gone up, occasionally through the years, but it had been fairly stable. Proofpoint is a little bit more, but when we compared it to other products that were out there, it was actually very reasonably priced compared to other things.
Usually you purchase these in a 1-year subscription?
Typically,
Typically,
yes.
okay.
Yep. And that's just the way it's been in the past. I'm certainly open to purchasing longer terms. Being that this is the first year with the product, I didn't want to commit to more than 1 year if at all possible.
Right. I'd offer the motion to authorize the purchase of a 1-year subscription to Proofpoint Email Security Service at the cost of $3,750.
Second.
We have a motion and second to authorize the purchase of a 1-year subscription to Proofpoint Email Security Service at the cost of $3,750. Is there any further discussion on the motion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. And that motion carries. Next, we have presentation regarding the Southside Substation.
Okay, next couple items will be pertaining to Southside Substation. The first item is with the switchgear project for MJ Electric. They had a $10,582 change order. And as you know, if we're more than 10% over on a contract like this, we shouldn't be coming to you on this. And if you look at the second attachment, it's a breakdown of what all they did for this $10,582.85. The first item on there, the add of 201C and 201T relays and terminal blocks, and some of the labor on the sixth item there could have been done as O&M, but we still were gonna be over the 10%. So I made the decision that we'll just take it all here and explain exactly what happened. The other 4 items that are added would have been probably added and fixed with the transformer addition, which will be the next items we're talking about on your agenda today. But we didn't know we were gonna be doing the transformer at this time when this work was done and completed. So it was elected to have it done and cleaned up at that time. Any questions?
I'll make a motion authorizing change order number 1, increasing the payment for construction services associated with the Southside Substation switchgear addition contract amount by $10,582.85 to MJ Electric LLC.
Second.
We have a motion and second authorizing change order number 1, increasing the payment for construction services associated with the Southside Substation switchgear addition contract amount by $10,582.85 to MJ Electric LLC. Any discussion on the motion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. So, Mr. Persig, are you presenting the next?
Yep.
Okay, go
Um,
ahead.
The next item would be awarding the transformer and 69 kVA breaker for the Southside Substation. If you recall, on May 24th, we came before you to ask permission to go develop specification and go out for bids for this item. And the bids have come in. I put it in here, what date did, well, we received the bids and they've been analyzed for both their efficiency and their cost effectiveness. And our consultant has recommended the larger transformer from Virginia Transformer Corporation. Feels that's the best value for our dollar. And the breaker is also bid separately. It's just how the suppliers work with this stuff. This is strictly a hardware. We'll have 2 more action items coming up in the next couple of months for construction services, getting it energized and all that stuff, and testing. So this is strictly hardware to be delivered to site. And Alstrom is the low bidder for the breaker. And if you look through the proposed amount and the items, we're coming in between these 2 items, $131,000 under what the engineer's estimate was originally. Any questions or that I can help with?
I'd authorize the city manager to award the bid of $501,683 for the 15/20/25/28 MVA transformer from Virginia Transformer Corp.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second to authorize the city manager to award the bid of $501,683 for 15/20/25/28 MVA transformer from Virginia Transformer Corporation. Any discussion?
Yeah, I have one more question. So is this gonna replace the one that's there, and then is the one that's there gonna be a backup, or?
No, they will both be sitting there in service, and we can load them intermittently, however operations wants to load them, like we can
Okay.
split up the loads, like in the summer, maybe we'll load one up, but this one will be big enough to completely back up if the other one would have a failure at our current loading. But
Okay.
with growth, we may need them both again.
Thank you.
Any additional discussion on the motion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. So then you also are looking for authorization regarding the breaker, substation breaker?
Yeah, I'll move to authorize the city manager to award the bid of $41,650 for the 69 kV substation breaker from Alstrom Grid.
Second.
We have a motion and second authorizing the city manager to award the bid of $41,650 for a 69 kV substation breaker from Alstom Grid. Any discussion on that motion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. And that motion carries. And Looks like we have one final action item regarding the Southside Substation Transformer Addition.
Yes, this is, we're looking to allow the city manager to accept the proposal from our consultant, PSC Engineering Group, for engineering services from now bid acceptance and stuff through energizing and construction, testing, everything to finish out this project for engineering services. This is right off of their proposed quote, and you can see that on the last page of this. We have their breakdown of their estimated items. And engineering is $95,000. Soil borings and report, foundation design review, and oil contaminant containment. For the new transformer is all included with this $138,000. So that's the four things that add up to the 138. Any more questions I can help with?
I'll make a motion authorizing the city manager to accept the proposal for engineering services for the 2016-2017 Southside Substation Transformer Addition from Power System Engineering in the amount of $138,000.
Second.
We have a motion and second authorizing the city manager to accept the proposal for engineering services for the 2016-17 Southside Substation Transformer Addition from Power System Engineering in the amount of $138,000. Any discussion on that motion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. And that motion carries.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda, it relates to a wastewater department improvement.
Commissioners, we have Dan O'Connor from the wastewater department that's going to present.
Dan O'Connor, wastewater department supervisor, commissioners, President Heine. We're here to ask for some motions for some projects we've been looking at the wastewater plant for the last year and a half. Initially, we budgeted $3 million in 2016 to look at some pump upgrades, possibly some UV at the end of our plant, and ATAD upgrades and odor control. And as we got looking at feasibility and what we could do with what we budgeted, we decided that we would continue to work on odor control at 20th and upgrade our ATAD system at the end of the plant, which takes care of our biosolids. So we've been working with Bolton and Mink, doing feasibility. Initially, we looked at our ATAD and what we had paid for it capital in 1996-97, thinking that we might just replace the equipment that treats the biosolids to make it safe for land application. As we did that and dug into it a little bit further, and knowing what we had done the last 20 years as far as maintenance and even operation costs involved with this ATAD, we decided we wanted to look at other options. There isn't a lot of other options out there as far as ATAD. When we put this plant on in '96, it was German technology, which I think the mayor and other German folks in New Ulm really liked. But their next generation would have required basically starting from scratch as far as building new tanks. Their next generation gets away from all these moving parts within the solution, which is very volatile. Their next generation included what they call the Centrox mixer, aerator, foam controller all in one. But with that, we would have had to demolish some tanks that are still structurally sound. So we looked into this TPS system. It is a little bit more expensive up front to put in place, but most of the equipment besides an air header are outside of the tank, so there isn't a lot of maintenance. So we've decided to go that route. It is a package deal. There is a lot of structural engineering that Bolton and Mink will be responsible for as far as reclaiming and retroing the tanks that we use. A lot of holes have to be enclosed, and some of them have to be enlarged to get their equipment in. If you look at the feasibility on what we looked at and what we came up with, this ATAD that we have right now, there's 48 motors that need to be maintained at least every other year. And as we found year 14, 15, we actually started a budget line for maintenance just in our ATAD facility for our biosolids so we could track it a little bit better. And in 2010, we spent about $42,000 on replacement parts. The other problem with the German technology and ordering equipment from Germany, there's about a 6-month lead time on the equipment. It's all stainless, and because of the volatile environment, it doesn't last that long. If you look at the 20-year feasibility that we put together with the help of Bolton and Mink, the TPS looks like about $5.4 million to operate and maintain, and the Fuchs would be $6.9 million. One of the big things is the safety of our employees as well when we're over there. It is a volatile environment. A lot of these shafts get very sharp, and I think just about every employee's been in for stitches at one time or another. With this system we're looking at right now, there's a couple blowers and a couple jet mix pumps where blowers will have oil changes and some filters to change, and the jet mix pumps will have some seals to replace, and then the motors will have to be rebuilt. I'm thinking every 7 years is what the maintenance schedule is. So back to what I initially started with, in 2010 we budgeted $42,000 for replacement parts. In 2011 we backed off a little bit, and ever since then we've sort of been limping this system along, knowing that we bonded this project in '96 and our last payment will be this year. And it was time to move forward and either retro or replace. So we've decided to retro with TPS. As far as the other part of the project, 20th Street, if you're familiar with where our main lift station is, it's right down by the putting green. And I'm sure there's been a time or two when you've left town on the 37 bridge and got a whiff of that building. We've gotten more and more complaints over the years, especially the last 5, 6, 7 years. With wastewater, obviously it always does have a different odor to it, but we have a lot of H2S that emits out of that building, and that's a lot of people regards that to a rotten egg smell, but it's more of a septic smell in my eyes. So once again, on that project, we chose the little more expensive setup because we want to put all the equipment in a building. The lift station right now isn't big enough to put all the equipment inside, so we are going to add a building. We do have a few furnaces throughout the plants that are outside that obviously with Minnesota winters have all kinds of issues with screens plugging and mechanical failures. So we chose to put a building up around this odor control so the maintenance isn't quite as intense and reliability will be much better. Anybody have any questions or comments, concerns?
Maybe I missed it, maybe it's in here, but what is the size of the bond issue in '96 that's going to be retired? Do you remember?
Accountants back there, I want to say 6.5 million. We did ATAD, we did storage,
Yeah.
and then we also added a final clarifier at that time. So I want to say when we looked at bonding another capital project, we wanted to keep it at least within that range so it wouldn't affect our budget annually.
Yeah. Thank you.
Do we have this money already bonded?
No, we don't. I capitalized $3 million last year, and we just added 1.2 here in 17. A lot of the preliminary work is done. I think Bolton and Mink's schedule is on there as far as bid opening late November. Construction could start possibly this winter at 20th Street. Lead time for the equipment for the ATAD TPS parts is 4 to 6 months. It'll be a lot of timing at the plant too, as far as we produce a Class A biosolids right now, and when we're in construction putting on the TPS, we'll have to go back to a Class B biosolids, which just a little bit more permitting through the MPCA. The other thing we really can't quantify here is with this next generation ATADs, they have a separate tank, SDNR tank, where basically you're fixing the ammonia. It sort of speeds up the nitrification, denitrification cycle. Right now, at the plant, we're not able to decant that clear water or black water off the top of our storage tanks effectively. We're not sure how efficient it'll be in the future because we do have a phosphorus limit, and there is a lot of phosphorus in the biosolids, but it'll fix the ammonia, which seasonally will upset our treatment as well. We do have an ammonia limit during the summer months through the MPCA, through our permits, so we're not able to decant during the summer months. The ammonia, on the flip side, also messes up our chlorine feed for our disinfection on our effluent. So the city of Marshall put in a TPS here about 10 years ago. A real similar sized town. They have a good industrial load. They were producing about 5 to 6 million liquid gallons annually, and now they're down to about 2 million gallons annually. So big picture is we possibly might cut our biosolids expense at least in half, if not more, with what we land apply. The only difference is Marshall is just meeting a seasonal phosphorus limit. They're not meeting the annual limit like we are. So there would be some other factors that might affect how much we can decant.
Do we need all these motions separately?
Pat?
I
prefer?
guess we had intended them to be.
I think you could do an and.
And
Okay. I'd offer a motion to approve to receive and file the Bolton Bank Inc. feasibility memo related to the New Ulm Wastewater Department 20th Street Lift Station odor control and ATAD improvements, and to authorize the city manager to sign the professional service agreement for detailed design services with Bolton and Bank Incorporated, and to direct the city manager to prepare plans and specifications for the New Ulm Wastewater Department 20th Street Lift Station odor control and ATAD improvements.
Second.
Okay, so before I read it again, why don't we call for discussion? Is there any discussion on the motion? Okay, so we have a motion and second to receive and file the Bolton and Mank Incorporated feasibility memo related to the New Ulm Wastewater Department 20th Street Lift Station odor control and ATAD improvements, and to authorize the city manager to sign the professional services agreement for detailed design services with Bolton and Mank Inc., and to direct the city manager to prepare plans and specifications for the New Ulm Wastewater Department 20th Street Lift Station odor control and ATAD improvements. All those in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And then the next item on the agenda relates to a request for some utility liens.
I can cover that, President Tiny. This is standard procedure. These are properties that have past due utility bills, and the properties are now inhabited by someone other than the person that incurred the expense, or in some cases they're simply vacant. So by filing these liens against the properties, the Public Utilities has the opportunity to be made whole in the event of a sale of those properties. So that's the purpose.
Mr. City Attorney, do we have to identify the legal description on each of these items in our formal motion?
I would suggest it.
Okay.
Yes, okay.
Then I'm going to suggest that I'm not going to read it a second time, so everybody pay attention to the motion.
I'll make a motion to approve utility liens against the following properties. Lot 12, Block 90, south of Center Street, City of New Ulm, Brown County, Minnesota. Lot 5, Block 3, south of Center Street, City of New Ulm, Brown County, Minnesota. Lot 1, Block 1, State Street Theater Subdivision, City of New Ulm, Brown County, Minnesota. Lot 12, Block 177, north of Center Street, City of New Ulm, Brown County, Minnesota. Lot 13, Block 15, south of Center Street, City of New Ulm, Brown County, Minnesota. And Lot 10, Block 190, north of Center Street, City of New Ulm, Brown County, Minnesota.
Second.
All those in favor of the motion to approve utility liens against the identified properties indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. And the motion carries. The final item on the agenda relates to our list of claims paid and to be paid.
Move to accept a list of claims paid in the amount of $2,776,026.90 and approve the list of claims to be paid in the amount of $295,649.29.
Second.
Any discussion on the motion? We have a motion and second to accept the list of claims paid in the amount of $2,776,026.90 and approve the list of claims to be paid in the amount of $295,649.29. All those in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Unless anyone has any other comments, we are adjourned.